Nicole's horse, Sam. But then, a horrifying sound.
Bang. Oh my God, she's rolling. And here it was Annie, and she was rolling, and she smacked into the front of her stall and dumped both of her water buckets out over her. I looked in her feed bin, and she hadn't touched any of her treats.
Carla instantly realizes that Annie is suffering from colic, an abdominal pain often caused by a gastrointestinal blockage. It is common in horses, and it can be deadly.
I knew just how the way she was dropping to the ground that it was not just a mild bit of discomfort, that she was colicking, and she was colicking pretty badly. I went into shock, and I just started talking about how she was my best friend, and, you know, she couldn't die. Okay, Aztec.tv tonight at 7:30 on the Pet Network.
You're watching the Pet Network, a channel devoted to pets and the people who love them.
Carla Knopfel has taken a break from her studies for a quick visit with Annie, her 16-year-old pink pony. Carla and her friends Nicole and Julia hear a startling noise from Annie's stall. To their horror, they realize that Annie is suffering from colic, and she could die at any minute.
Colic is the leading cause of premature death in horses. If not successfully treated within the first 24 hours, it could be fatal. There are a number of different types of colic. They can have gas distension of their stomach or their intestines, pushing out and causing pain. Or they can have an impaction or a blockage in the intestine, not allowing things to move through. Or they can actually have a piece of intestine that is twisted and blocking out that way.
The first thing you want to do when a horse is colicking is get them moving. If they roll around on the ground, then it makes them worse, even if they're just standing in one spot for too long.
The more that they're allowed to roll, increase the risk that their intestines are going to twist.
We took her out of the stall and Carla started to walk her around.
By the time I got to the arena, she was falling down. Like, she wasn't getting down to roll, she literally just kind of collapsed under me. And I was trying to pull her up off the ground, and I'd get another few steps and she'd be down again. And I got to the point where I started to scream at her because it's incredibly dangerous to let them continue rolling like that. And I remember saying something to the effect of, "We need a vet now."
She just was standing there with the phone shaking, and I kind of said, Carla, do you want me to call for you?
Okay, thank you.
Julia contacts a vet who promises to come as soon as she can. But the vet is a 2-hour drive away, and that could be 2 hours too long.
As soon as we heard that she was very far out of town, we were very nervous that she wasn't going to make it in time to help us, and that the colic would be going on for too long.
In the meantime, she told us to just keep doing what we were doing, walking her around, massaging her stomach, doing some belly lifts, working her tail, just doing anything to try to loosen her up.
We were listening to her stomach. If we don't hear stomach noises, which we didn't with Annie, then usually that's a sign that there's very little movement and that the colic is pretty bad.
She told us, you know, not to let her roll. She also advised that if we could give her some mineral oil at the least, if not Banamine, which is used a lot in colic to kind of relax and help promote movement.
They can't find Banamine, but the girls do locate a small container of mineral oil.
Mineral oil is a lubricant given orally to help lube anything that may be blocking the digestive system. Once administered, it's a waiting game to see if anything passes. We had a large gauge syringe, so we just filled it up and squirted it down her throat, basically. We refilled it several times. But that's all we could do, I guess, until we could get the vet out.
The girls aren't the only ones affected by Annie's condition. Nicole's horse, Sam, is Annie's best friend, and he shows a deep concern.
We kept walking her. At this point, we've been walking for a very long time, and so there was no noises. She wasn't passing anything. She wasn't gassy. She was very lethargic.
Night has fallen. Every minute that passes boxes brings Annie closer to death. Finally, the vet arrives.
Thank you so much for coming. The mineral oil hasn't worked. There's no stomach noises. The vet was very gentle, the best vet I've ever met in all my years with horses. She was so thorough and so calm.
She's terrified of needles.
She won't hurt a bit.
The vet worked her magic, and we managed to get her sedated without as much hassle as I was worried about. She was still incredibly stressed, and that stressed me out a lot.
Carla was so scared that Annie was going to hurt herself or make herself more stressed out and therefore making the colic worse by giving her the injection. And it ended up being okay and she was fine.
Carla, Nicole, and Julia help the vet insert a tube through Annie's nostril and down into her stomach.
Annie's best chance of survival is the placement of a nasogastric tube. This is placed through the nostril into the stomach to help alleviate any gas pressure that is there. It also allows a large volume of mineral oil and Epsom salts to be placed into the digestive system to help move any blockages that are still there.
The vet has to leave. All Carla can do now for Annie is walk her and wait.
They said it was almost like I went into shock, and I just started talking about how she was my best friend, and, she couldn't die.
She can't die. She just can't.
They said I just kind of shut down and just started talking like that, and saying, what am I going to do if anything happens to her? Morning, and they were freezing.
And the only reason why we left is because Carla told us she was going to leave too. So me and Nicole got in the car to go, and again, we're very negative and worried about the situation. We had seen very little change in Annie.
Carla's going to be devastated.
We found out later that Carla actually didn't leave. She lied to us.
I had just planned to